In today's video, we're going to be running through my team selection ahead of Matchday 3 for the UCL Fantasy, and of course, running through all the data you need to make the best decisions this game week. Now, before we dive into today's video, if you do enjoy any of the UCL Fantasy content, make sure you're liking, subscribing, and of course, getting your comments in about your team, as we are trying to as well hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the month, and it is only possible with your guys' help. So if you do enjoy any of that content, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. Of course, let's start off with Matchday 2. We did play the Limitless chip, and as you can see, the team absolutely smashed it. The only blank we had in the starting 11 was, of course, Vinicius Jr. Outside of that, nobody else blanked, and a lot of people absolutely smashed it for us. Obviously, Adeyemi was our star pick for that week. I think Dortmund have obviously set up the blueprint on how to go and batter Celtic. Emre Can as well, very happy with his performance. Rafinha and Foden, Salah all picking up 14 points in the midfield as well. No complaints from me in that regard as well. Captain Lewandowski in the first game as well, another fantastic performance. I think in the end we finished on 123 points. Combining that with our game week 1 total as well, I think we're around about 8k in the world now, so not too bad. Obviously, if you watched the Matchday 1 video, you know I ended up accidentally benching around 30 points because I had some life stuff that I had to deal with on that day and just completely forgot to do my team. But if we'd have had those, we'd probably be around 250th in the world. However, we've still had an absolutely fantastic start. I'm really happy that the Limitless went extremely well in Matchday 2. We kind of went against the grain because a lot of people didn't do it in that game week, but we played it this week and it has absolutely gone off the rails. Right, let's move on. Let's take a look at betting data for the upcoming week. Obviously, we'll have the Rob T FPL stuff on the deadline stream. Like I said, I will be live for probably around 3 hours on Tuesday afternoon / evening. So if you do want to come along to that stream, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button and of course getting your bell notifications in as well. So as we can see here, the top teams to be targeting this game week are going to be Manchester City and Arsenal. Girona also fancied as well for those projected goals. Monaco, Lisbon, Atalanta and Inter Milan as well, looking very, very tasty from an attacking standpoint. Obviously, I think Arsenal might potentially suffer with two of their most creative players being out at the moment. Obviously, Bukayo Saka and Odegaard as well. And we did see a little bit of stagnation in terms of overall creativity from a Arsenal standpoint at the weekend against Bournemouth. So potentially could maybe struggle to go and get a couple against Shakhtar. I still think they'll have enough to obviously get them across the line. And there's definitely some very, very tempting players to go for. Obviously, if you are at a Limitless as well, I probably would be recommending one Arsenal attacker. And if we get positive news around Bukayo Saka, I do think he is a player I'm going to be looking to bring in. Same with City as well. Haaland probably for that second day is going to be a great captaincy option. Of course, we've got Phil Foden as well, who currently, at the time of recording, has been benched by Manchester City. So again, probably going to see decent minutes in midweek as well for that game, so could be a very, very tasty option as well. Atalanta are always good value as well. They're up against Celtic, and obviously, like I said, Dortmund did put out the blueprint, and Sporting are flying over in Portugal at the moment and scoring goals for fun. So again, Gyökeres could be a really, really decent pickup this game week. In terms of the clean sheet data for this week, again, it is the same three teams, obviously leading the way. Maybe if, like me, you're on a wild card next week, some Girona players could potentially be worth considering if you've not got the budget. Obviously, Manchester City top there, so their defenders are going to be very much on the watch list for people on, of course, a Limitless, or for ourselves as well this week, with good long-term fixtures coming up post that as well. Same goes for Arsenal as well. I think with William Saliba picking up that red probably means he's going to play this game in midweek and probably play the full 90, so I'd be very, very happy to have him. As well, there's a lot of kind of similar teams we saw in the last section also appearing here for that clean sheet data as well, so it does bode well if you do want to go and select any of these teams. Like I said, we will have the Rob T FPL betting market data on the deadline stream as well, so make sure you are hitting that subscribe button with bell notifications on, so you will be notified when I do go live on Tuesday. But that's enough waffle. Let's move on to my team selection ahead of Matchday 3. And the moment you have all been waiting for, and of course, it is my team selection ahead of Matchday 3. Let's talk you through it. Let's start off first with our goalkeepers, and we do actually only have one goalkeeper to pick from this week. It's going to be Bizot. De Gregor obviously picked up a suspension, so that now means he isn't available. So I don't personally like making goalkeeper transfers in any game, so we're just going to stick with Bizot for this week and hope maybe he could pull something out of the game against Bayer Leverkusen. But as we'll see now with my defence and further in the attacking line as well, we might have some Bayern Leverkusen players. Let's dive into that back line then first. Obviously, we've got Pitakowski. They've got a decent fixture again this week. He's been really disappointing for Salzburg so far this season. However, I am still feeling quite confident and hopeful with it being a home fixture that, of course, he can obviously go and get a clean sheet. I'm actually just going to quickly get the fixtures up for you guys as well. 1 second. There we go. Opponent is now on as well, so you can see that. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident about that one. So hopefully he can come away with one there. Hakimi, I'm very happy to have him for this game at home against PSV. They aren't one of the top teams projected for a clean sheet this week. However, I think with his attacking potential and the fact that PSG need to probably win this game if they've got any chance of progression longer term kind of within this tournament, I definitely feel quite confident in his ability. Same with Grimaldo away at Brest. Not fancied in terms of a clean sheet, but hopefully there is something in an attack and return maybe where he could get potentially something out of this game. In terms of the other two defenders on the bench, obviously both are injured. Carvajal has done his ACL, and the Sporting Lisbon defender as well looks to be out till November. I will obviously make kind of any last minute checks before that happens, but that does mean we are down to 3 defenders, obviously 1 goalkeeper as well, so things haven't quite gone to plan over the past few weeks with our other players. But let's continue, let's dive on into that midfield. First up is going to be Musiala away at Barcelona. I'm not particularly a big fan of this fixture, and with other players like, of course, Saka and Foden around this price point with really appetising fixtures, and as we saw with the projected goals, looking really decent from the betting markets, they're probably the moves that I'm going to make this week. We'll come on to talk about my transfers in the next section. Phil Foden as well, just picking up an assist against Wolves as well, coming off the bench, so that probably bodes quite well for him to start as well in this fixture. João Neves, he does play a little bit of a deeper role, but for 5.5 million, I don't think I can complain too much. 5 assists in Ligue 1 so far this season. I'm pretty happy with him in the side. Yes, there's probably better players to go for, but right now, yeah, I think we're just going to have to stick it out for him as well. We are wildcarding next week, so again, it's not the worst fixture, but we'll just have to ride and die with it. Wirtz has had a brilliant start to this season's Champions League campaign as well. Both match days coming away with attacking returns. Obviously, match day 1 was his standout performance there. Hopefully, he can continue that against Brest. Again, a fixture I'm feeling pretty confident that Leverkusen should do quite well in. They always seem to be involved in goals every single week, and that has also carried on into their Champions League campaign. Barcola's got 7 goals in Ligue 1 so far this season. It's not the worst, but it's not the best either. Again, there's probably better options to go with this week. However, like I said, with the injuries and obviously certain players playing away at Barcelona, I think he's probably not the biggest priority to get out of the side, so we are going to stick with him for one final week. Moving on to our bench, we do have Yamal on there at home against Bayern Munich. He's probably going to remain within the side just down to it being a home fixture and how imperative he's been for Barcelona this season. So we will be sticking with Yamal, and he'll obviously drop in if we do need him off the bench. In terms of our front three, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, this one. Harry Kane away at Barca. Again, not the easiest fixture, but I'm not going to look to remove a player that started the season absolutely brilliantly, not only in terms of the Champions League, but of course in the league as well. Picking up a hat-trick over the weekend, so he'll be going into that game really confident that he can go and get something out of that fixture. Gyökeres at the moment is going to be our captain for the Tuesday games. We don't have kind of any other players really standing out on that Tuesday fixture. Maybe that's something to potentially look at, and that's why I'm tempted with somebody like Bukayo Saka if he is fit and available, or another Arsenal player, because obviously it gives us a decent captaincy option. But they are obviously against Stade. He's had a great start again in the Portuguese league, as have Sporting Lisbon as well. So far, 24 points for them, absolutely flying. He's got 11 goals and 1 assist as well, so had a pretty immense start, as we can see. Then Erling Haaland, 3 blanks in a row in the Premier League and in FPL at the moment. It does look like City are struggling in terms of creativity. They're not really kind of doing exceptionally well in that department. department. The previous 2 games before the Wolverhampton's games, they actually lost on expected goals. That's the first time that has happened in back-to-back games under Pep Guardiola. It's now 3 games in a row where Haaland has not had a big chance either. So it is looking a little bit like they are struggling for some creativity. However, against Prague, you do feel like City should be winning that game. I think Foden will start as well. So hopefully that will help with some of the creativity for that Manchester City side, and probably will end up being our captain if Gyökeres does go on to do, I would say, less than 10 points in that opening game on Tuesday. Let's head over to my transfers then, what I'm thinking for this week. Obviously, I need to quickly switch screens. That didn't work. There we go. So yeah, let me talk you through my transfers that I've kind of outlined with the side. Obviously, we're going to take Carvajal out and we're going to put in an Arsenal defender. Again, we will be waiting for leaks, but I think William Saliba picking up that red card, meaning that he's going to be suspended for the Premier League, probably means he is going to start in the Champions League. Maybe give some of the other defenders a little bit rotation and kind of just play him because he can't play in the Premier League. So that's the thought process with that one. As well, we saw Arsenal are fancied for a clean sheet this week. Second in terms of projected clean sheets from the betting data, so that's very good. And then, like I said, I really wanted to attack City in this great fixture that they've got coming up at Sparta at home. And I feel with Phil Foden as well, coming off the bench today, getting an assist. He was magnificent against Bratislava as well in the last round of the Champions League. I obviously had him, as we saw, picking up that 14-pointer as well. And again, could be a really decent option. My only other player that I am potentially considering doing is, of course, looking to potentially move to Bukayo Saka, because he would give me a decent captaincy option on that opening day. In terms of the other players, obviously, we're just going to, I think, stick it out, like I said, with the goalkeeper. I don't think there's any kind of incentive to obviously make a goalkeeper transfer, especially for a -4. It feels like a bit of a little bit of one that won't really come off to any kind of fruition. That's the word I'm looking for. And then in terms of the centre back as well, 4.5 million, there's probably not going to be anybody that is going to absolutely smash it within that price range. Barcola could be one that maybe I do replace either that or Yamal, and maybe I'm looking at a -4 to potentially go and bring in Lookman at home against Celtic, but we will have to wait and see whether or not that's going to be on the deadline. Like I said, I will be live for that one for probably about 3 hours, so make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and, of course, getting your bell notifications on as well. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in match day 3.